mesh well with people.
Yeah, okay, got you.
That's a good starting point, because some of us, we've discussed this, like, it's like there's that forced social interaction that makes people awkward, and you're like, so...
Yeah.
It's like awkward.
Yeah.
Which funny is
like,
I actually
let me do it.
It doesn't work.
Gotcha.
I can improv it better than I can just read it.
Gotcha.
So,
that makes sense.
You want to do it?
Let me do it.
Okay.
Because I don't need a script.
You don't. You just an MC like that. Whatever.
I don't. You could do
ready?
it.
All
You
right.
could do it without a script.
I'm trying right now.
Do it without. Don't.
Okay, ready?
No.
All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Unpack Your Bag. This is a place where I couldn't do it.
We are like less than 30 minutes in.
I couldn't even do it. This is a place where we unpack our bag where it pertains to truth, love, passion, and culture. We are your hosts, Tony Perks, Chantal, and we have a guest today. On our show. So, please introduce yourself and give us an elevator pitch on who you are, what you're about, and what you bring to the table.
Who is you?
Who is you? Right?
So,
a little bit, a little raw, you know what I'm saying?
Awesome. Well, I'm happy to be here. My name is Joe Fields. I am the CEO and the creative director of JF Photography. We specialize in portrait photography, wedding photography, and pretty much any type of photography where we're taking pictures of people.
Okay. So when did you get into photography? Like, how long ago was this?
So I got into photography seriously about 2015.
Mm-hmm.
The interest really started coming around 2011.
Okay.
A good friend of mine was actually doing photography, and he had a studio with somebody that he was working with, and I would go around this. I would go there, and I just always enjoyed the energy there.
Okay.
And then. So that kind of sparked my interest. Mm-hmm. And then I'll say a few years later, my wife, she used to do photography.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sorry, not photography, makeup. Okay. And so she was looking for a better camera to photograph her work. Now, me being a lot more tech than her, I did some research on the cameras, and I bought one that I thought would be good for her. And then I went and learned it so that I can kind of teach it to her, so to teach it to her.
Okay.
And then when I started learning about the camera, some things you needed to know what and why you would use a certain setting. So that's when I started really learning about photography, and then that's when really started bubbling up.
Okay. You're talking about like settings like ISO and stuff,
yeah,
and like frame rate and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, ISO, frame rate, aperture. Yeah. How to get the blurry background.
Yeah. And
why would you want to do that? So all of that type of stuff, and then from there, it just kind of took off.
So did you ever have any interest in like photography beyond like before 2012? Like before did you ever think about it, or do you ever like have any like ideas about it, or was it just like nothing was there?
Not really, no.
No. Okay.
No, not really.
So all from that moment.
Really from that moment, really from that type of that period. Kind of birthed it, when we I went on my honeymoon, I bought one of those little point and shoot cameras.
Yeah.
And we went to the Dominican Republic.
Okay,
and
nice.
I was taking a bunch of dope photos there.
Yeah.
And then so that added to it, and then like I said, once I got that camera, I started learning about photography. And it's like how when you're in school, some subjects you learn enough to pass the test, pass the class, and then some is like you absorb everything.
Yeah.
It was like because I taught myself photography. I didn't get any formal training.
Okay.
And like every YouTube video I was watching,
man, YouTube will teach you some stuff, man.
YouTube University,
man, I agree.
Is where it's at. Every
It's
article,
the answer to all of the world's problems, according to Anthony.
So I was just absorbing everything. Look, YouTube. I learned how to be a grown up. And a homeowner.
Hey, I'm not mad, man. I'm talking you. People sleep on it.
No, I mean, it's dope. It's dope.
I learned how to fix a garbage disposal.
Man, I learned how to do my brakes.
Exactly.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like YouTube it. Boom.
Yeah.
Google, boom.
So that's really kind of where it just kind of bubbled up, and then my content was good enough where people liked it, and they wanted to pay me, so I was like, cool.
So would you say are you like more passionate about it now? Do you feel like you're
Absolutely
passionate?
Absolutely, that is my passion. And the most interesting thing, honestly, like I was always pretty to really good at a lot of things, but once I really found photography, I realized I didn't really have a passion. Okay. I really didn't have like a passion.
Right.
Like how some people are passionate about dancing or playing basketball. Like I was good at stuff, but I wasn't passionate
you weren't
about
really into it. Like,
so what was the thing that made you know that this was your passion, right? Like you like a lot of things. What was the thing that made you be like, nah, it's for sure 100% photography?
It was that feeling of everything that I saw, I was just absorbing. You know, and it was like, you know, and just the amount of time, you know, when they say do something you love, that, you know, to where you can do it and not get paid. Like that, I got that feeling.
Got you. Where it's like, I'm enjoying this. Do you get in something called a flow state where it's like you get so wrapped up in it that you kind of lose time of like everything else is going on?
Absolutely. Because there was a period of time where I was at home, right?
Okay.
We had had our daughter, and we were very leery about the daycare scene.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So our thing was, if possible, we wanted to be able to have somebody at home,
right?
So that, you know, at least until she was old enough to talk.
Yeah. So you
to
could
tell us what happened. Yeah. So fortunately, I was able to do that. I was able to, you know, stay home and do that part of it and work on the business.
Okay.
And a lot of times, I would find myself up, you know, 2-3 o'clock in the morning.
Really?
Editing photos, editing videos. 'Cause I do that as well. And just the time just passes. So I guess that's what it's called. But it's just once you get wrapped up in it, it's just you look up and before you know it, it's 2-3 hours.
Yeah, and you didn't even realize that much time passed. Because you're so in it, you know. Because I skateboard, that's like where I'm really passionate about.
Okay.
And like tech stuff, but like really skateboarding. So when I'm skating, I'm like, I don't even know what's going on outside of what I'm doing.
So not the, never mind.
Not the what?
I was about to say, so not the lights.
Well, I mean, the lights are cool. You know what I'm saying?
Not the lights.
I wouldn't say I'm passionate.
Not the lights.
You know, it's cool. It's cool. You know.
I mean, I think what's dope, and one of the reasons why I really thought it was important for us to have this conversation was you've managed to do what in my opinion, is something that's really, really difficult. You've managed to take something that you're passionate about and then flip it to a business that's actually bringing you tangible income every month.
Absolutely.
So what was that process like?
The passion comes first, because if you're passionate about something, you're going to want to give your best. You're going to want to give the best that you can. And I'm just the type of person, if I'm going to put my name on something, and I've always been like this, if I'm going to put my name on something, I want it to be the best version. I don't want to look at it after the fact and be like, oh, I could have did.
Yeah, when you knew you really could have done better.
Yeah,
right.
Like,
and so that's kind of what that's kind of what my mindset was as I was learning and I was progressing.
Okay.
And when people started wanting to pay me for it, you know.
So break down, like, how did you get your first like paying gig? Like, what did you do? Because like at this point, you're doing it for free. You're just shooting photos.
Right.
I would assume like you're shooting photos, and are you getting recognition at this point? Are you just posting them? Like,
posting on social media.
Okay.
When you're just learning something, or when you're just getting started, you do a lot of free stuff.
For sure.
For the content.
Yeah.
So I did a lot of that type of stuff. You know, my daughter, I've always been taking pictures of her.
Yeah. Okay.
So I would post a lot of stuff that I took of her. And then from there, people, would see my stuff and say, hey, can you come take photos at my daughter's birthday party, or can you take our family photos and stuff like that? So that's kind of how it started.
Okay, so the first time you quoted somebody, what was your process of getting them, setting the price? Because a lot of times it's like when you're new, you don't really know, like, should I charge $20?
Right.
$100? How did you like get that process to figure out how much I'm going to charge my client this first time, and then going forward, like, how did you balance like the figuring out of what you should charge?
I did a lot of research online, of what people, are charging in the area.
Okay.
And then I also did some just asking people, I asked some people, what did you, people that I know have gotten photography done, I'd ask them what they charge. And, people that I know and people that trusted me or whatever the case, they would tell me. And so I kind of use that as a baseline.
Were you ever nervous? Like the first
Absolutely.
time you were like, did you feel like, I don't know what I'm doing? Like, they want me to do a real photo.
Right. Like, do y'all know that I'm just like,
I'm just a newbie?
Like I taught myself this and like I do it because I really love it. Like, is there that nervous apprehension? Like, is people, is they gonna like this?
You talking about now or then?
Then, like, are they gonna like this?
Absolutely. I'm like, because my mindset was like, these people have never really seen me work, and I'm just kind of learning this thing, especially from the fact of I wasn't formally trained on.
Right.
So, and then whenever you got something that you feel a certain type of way about, and you put a price on it, there's always that thing in your head like, are they really going to value me the way that I value myself?
Yeah,
you
that
know,
part.
Like,
And
I'm
then-
sensitive about my shit.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure, sure.
Exactly.
Because it's like it's your name on it. It's like something you're passionate about, something that you like crafted to do, and then someone has to sign off and say it's good or not. So it's like that's
so, and you know, it's still, I wouldn't say I get nervous still. There's that, like, I guess you could say that nervous excitement, if you will.
Okay,
just because of, you know, when there's an unknown.
Yeah.
There's always a nervousness about it.
Uh-huh.
But, you know, I've gotten to the point, I've gotten my confidence level up to the point to where I know that I can produce high quality work. It's just, it's more so about getting in there and establishing rapport quickly with somebody that I may not necessarily be familiar with. Especially once I started getting, like, out of my warm market. You know what I'm saying? Like, outside of family and friends, like, you know, when people are contacting me that I don't know. For me, it's really important about the rapport and making people feel comfortable, because
That's a good
if
point.
you're not comfortable and I'm taking your photograph, it's going to show.
Yeah.
For sure.
gonna
That's
show.
actually, I didn't even think about that.
That's a really good point.
I mean, I've never actually thought about that. Like, you have to have like some type of relationship to some degree, you know,
Absolutely.
professional or not, but like you need to still be personable, because
Yes.
like you coming in here with people you don't know. I never just thought about that. Like, if I make you feel uncomfortable, even though I'm getting paid to do this job, like I got to make you feel a certain way to bring out your work.
Exactly.
You know?
While at the same time understanding that I am on their time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I can't.
Like, literally,
we
y'all
can't-
paying me to be here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we can't
yeah.
spend 30 minutes just chopping it up,
Yeah,
because
for
you're
sure.
paying me to take these photos.
Yeah.
And so that's that balance. You know, when you're not comfortable doing that, there's definitely nervousness, but I've gotten really good at that.
Were you nervous in the beginning, like, or have you always been like a people person, or like as far as business goes, or is it something you had to learn?
I've
as you
always
started?
been a people person. Yeah.
Okay.
I've always had the ability to mesh well with people.
Yeah. Okay. Got you. So
That's
you got,
that's a good starting point, because some of us, we've discussed this, like, it's like there's that forced social interaction that makes people awkward, and you're like,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's like awkward.
Yeah.
What's funny is
Like-
I actually enjoy the awkwardness. It's
Really?
weird. Like I sometimes I put myself intentionally in awkwardness to see how the person's gonna react. I don't know why. It's messed up, but
It's
it's
so
like
strange.
let me be a little more uncomfortable. just to
I don't
see.
like that
it's,
shit.
yeah, it's so
I don't like that
Let me
strange.
just see how they are.
It's
And
so
like, you know,
strange.
I don't
it
like
is.
But
it
you know
is.
what? I feel like I feel like I've gotten really good, if I haven't always been, at taking that awkwardness out.
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
You know, and that's part of making people feel
Yeah,
comfortable.
for sure.
Because I don't like that shit.
Because
It's weird. It's
I've
normal.
always been
It's
really
normal.
good at it. I've always been really good at just like talking to people, open up just naturally. But
Okay.
I never thought about like, okay, like what do I do when they're not opening up? You know, I usually would just keep talking until they'll eventually
And
say
do they?
something.
Then they just
Exactly.
like sit there and listen to you while you keep talking.
Yeah, they'll listen, and then I'll ask them questions.
That's
though,
so
you know, because
strange.
what you do is if you ask open-ended questions,
There you go.
you get them to open up,
There
and then
you
if you
go.
let them talk about themselves.
And you know what?
perfect.
The thing about it is, and people won't really say it, but people love talking about themselves.
Yeah.
This
So
is
you
true.
give people opportunity to talk about themselves.
Yeah.
This is true.
Then you got then you
They gonna
you're
do
Gucci.
it.
You're all good.
Especially if it's not a yes or no answer. If it's like, you know,
'Cause
how
you have to say
yeah,
something.
Yeah, like what have you been doing? Like what's been going on in your life? Like, you know,
Yeah.
how did you deal with this problem? Like those kind of things, like get people to open up really quick. So
Absolutely.
that's something I've learned just because I'm a nurse.
Okay.
Doing
Awesome.
patients and stuff. So, but yeah, so your first photo that you actually took when you like were doing your first gig, how did you feel when you were presenting them the actual photos after? Like, so the first paid event that you did, first gig, what was your thought process when you were like showing them the photos? Were you nervous? Were you excited? Like, break down that day. What happened that day? And then when they received the photos, what was their interaction like?
So typically what I do is I deliver photos digitally, right?
Okay,
So
okay.
I'm not necessarily there when they're seeing them.
Okay,
right?
got you.
But there is definitely a nervousness there.
Yeah.
You know, there's a nervousness the day of when you're taking the photos because of everything we said,
Yeah.
and then there's also a nervousness once you finish.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, this is the best that I can do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm giving it to you. Don't shit on me.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
for sure. Like, please, like my heart's in this right now. Like, you were gonna destroy me or build me up.
Yeah. So there's definitely that nervousness. It's probably it's not much different than when you get on stage and you know you're about to start singing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
When you're about to start singing or anything.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I'm opening myself to you. That's a version of it.
It's the vulnerability that's
Exactly.
involved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that being vulnerable always makes you nervous.
Yeah, for sure.
Even to this day.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, when you get that feedback, oh my God, we love them, or oh, this looks beautiful. you know.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
doesn't it feel like,
Yes.
like I did that.
like that
Yeah,
vulnerability thing is deep.
Yeah.
Cause like cause then you're giving somebody a product, right? And like you said, there's no face-to-face interaction. You're just giving them the product. Well, you know, what they say to themselves, you know what I'm saying? Like the conversation that they have amongst themselves and with family members versus what the conversation that they have with you, right, is going to be totally different. But the testament to your success is that people come back, obviously, right?
Yeah,
like the having repeat customers, getting referrals, right? Because that's where you get to a point when you're like, I don't know this person, but they know me. That's everything, right?
Absolutely.
Because it means they're getting good referrals. So, I mean, how do you build a photography business that's really able to sustain itself financially? Like, it has to be based on, like, what you say, like, giving somebody a good product and then backing up and hoping that, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just continues to build.
Yeah. Because, and I also want to ask you, too, like, do you think that what do you think is more important for photography? If you're an okay photographer with really, really good personality or like a great photographer, shitty personality?
Why are those the only two options in your mind?
I don't know. I don't know.
I would say if you're trying to do this thing for real, I would say it's better to have the great personality and being an okay photographer because it's easier to improve. It's easier to improve your photography skills than it is to change your personality.
That's a good That's a good point. That's a very good point.
That's my thing. You can always get better.
If you got a shitty personality, like that's a terrible thing to be burdened with. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean,
but it's harder to change your personality than it is to learn a skill about something. I mean, I agree.
Unless you're one of the top 1%,
you have to be the best.
Then it doesn't matter.
You can be shitty
because you see all of these top flight people.
Yeah,
you can do whatever you want because the product so much overpowers your shitty personality.
Yeah, I mean,
you know.
But for the rest of us, we getting like straight up for the rest of us, and like you, and then you have this, and I know for sure I got this. It's like a charisma thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like when you want to, you can turn on a certain amount of charm. You can crack a couple jokes, whatever you need to do, right? To be like, yo, I like that person. You know what I'm saying?
Because so that will keep a customer.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna tell you, I will go to places like restaurants, for example, and if they have great customer service and their food is like pretty good, I'll go back just because of like the feeling I get being there. Exactly. But if I go somewhere else, food's like pretty good, like a little better, but then they're just terrible service. Like, do I really want to go back and deal with it as much? Or I don't feel like they don't even care or is important. So I think the personality thing does go a long way.
I'm super big on service. Like you can have the best food in the world, but if the service is shitty,
oh my God,
that's a big reflection.
It's a big reflection.
Yeah.
Because I would rather eat an okay burger served from a great person than eat a top flight burger feel like I was disrespected by your personality.
For sure.
You know, because I mean, I don't know why, but it wouldn't taste as good.
Yeah, because it's like that feeling. Like it's more than just the food. It's like the whole experience.
Yes.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, out of all of the places, I chose to come spend my money with you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
I passed a lot of restaurants.
Yeah, for sure.
Getting here.
Yeah, don't treat me like you doing me a favor. Like I'm patronizing your business.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if you can't show me a certain level of respect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I do want to ask. So, you started your business in 2015, right?
Yeah.
So, you were starting off relatively small. What made you really decide I want to do this as a career, like business, and like what was your mental process of? Or I don't know if you were a business owner before this. Were you any kind of business?
Not
owner?
me, no. But I have business. I've. So my mother is a business owner. She owns a financial services. She's a real estate broker.
Okay.
And then my uncle, he does taxes. He has a tax business. And my father, at one point, he owned his own trucking business. So I've been around that. This was my first really like business type of thing myself, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how did it feel starting? Like, did you feel like, because I'm assuming you were working before this, like transitioning from a 9-to-5 to like your actual business.
Yeah.
What was that process and what did it feel like for you? And like,
or then when did like balancing the two.
Yeah.
When did you decide you were going to leave your job for your career?
Well, I haven't yet. That's the thing about
it. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I still have a 9-to-5. And so that in itself kind of takes a little of the pressure off.
Okay.
You know, to where I'm not chasing clients, I guess, if you will.
Okay.
Because I have to.
Yeah.
And
okay.
that helps.
Right.
That helps to focus more on the art itself.
Okay. I
So
understand
that's really kind of what my process has been. Being able to focus on the art and not so much chasing the dollar.
Got you. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Do you ever plan on? I mean, if it gets to that point, do you plan on like going the route of just doing photography one day, or do you
Absolutely.
think? Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that'd be cool.
And it's just, I don't know. I don't know if it was like a 12-step process or something. It was just, I love this thing, and why not? I've always kind of had that, and like I said, that's from my family being business people.
Yeah.
Have this thing about, if I can do this, why not get paid for it?
For sure.
For sure. That's kind of that part of it was kind of showed to me.
Okay.
So, it's I feel like I try to be an efficient person. So if I'm gonna spend all of this time doing this, especially since photography is not a cheap hobby. You know what I'm saying? You're talking about $1,000 cameras.
The lenses alone?
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, man.
That's a good. It's not a cheap hobby.
So the body was just $1,000.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah,
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's another thing. I'm like, if I'm gonna be spending money on this and time, I might as well make money off of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Other people are, and I'm not really different than nobody else.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was kind of my mindset more than anything, as far as moving more serious about it as a business.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
No. So I remember one time we were having this conversation at work, and you were taking pictures of the kids, right? The senior portraits,
Yes.
right? And one of the things we were saying was, one of the things that you were saying really led to me like wanting to have this conversation on the podcast. Was you were saying that you put in work 5-6 years ago that you're starting to reap the benefits of now. Right. And I think that's super huge, because a lot of times we start things, ventures, businesses, whatever, and we don't see the results in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. Right. And we ready to be like, that shit don't work. Right.
Yeah.
And bounce, not knowing that the longevity really is what brings the success, if you will. So talk about that a little bit. Like, how do you stay motivated to continue to, you know what I'm saying? Push, grind, put the work in, look at the stuff, you know what I mean? Stay up to date on whatever it is while working, while raising a family, while doing all of that stuff. Because a lot of people are going to be more in your position, right, than in the position where they have this money to do a startup. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
There's
true.
more yous out here hustling and doing the 9-to-5 and business thing than there are,
Yeah,
what the
that's
shit
true.
we see on TV,
Yeah,
right? Which is
yeah.
like, oh, I just got $25,000 and I'm invested in this. You like,
Yeah.
that's not, you know what I'm saying? That's not our life, essentially,
yes,
right? So I want you
absolutely.
to talk about that a little bit.
There's a couple of things, right? One of the things is, I'm a firm believer in that reaping, that sowing and reaping type of thing.
Okay.
And I can't go to the bank and pull $1,000 out if I didn't put that $1,000 in first.
Yeah,
Right. So I'm very confident in, if you put something in, you're gonna get it out.
Got you. Okay.
And you can't get anything out if you don't put it in. So I don't have a
Agree,
problem.
agree.
I don't have a problem putting in the work, as long as I can see and believe that it's going to come back to me. So that's one thing.
Right.
A really big thing that so many people, I believe, have a problem with is delayed gratification.
Yeah.
Oh,
So many people,
Say that.
right?
100.
Say
If
that.
it doesn't work yesterday, I'm done with it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whatever it is, relationships, businesses,
Yeah.
whatever, right? So I'm, I believe in that also, delayed gratification.
How do you deal with that? Because I see a lot of people that have that problem, like, I want this, and they want like the accolades, or they want the success right away, and then people like you, for example, they understand how to delay it. Would you ever have a problem with like delayed gratification before in your life, or was it something that kind of was just like you've always been about in general for you?
I mean, when you're younger, you don't have the grasp on that, like,
Right.
but I've always had a high level of patience also.
Okay.
So that really comes hand in hand with that.
Okay.
So, like I said, as long as I can see or believe in the results coming, I'm cool with the patience, with the delayed gratification.
Okay.
And I also try to be very good about knowing when I can see it and when I can't.
Yeah,
Right? Because
okay.
I'm not, because you don't want to put a bunch of years into something that's not fruitful. And,
Okay.
you know, that you could have seen years ago.
Okay.
You know, so you know, some of it is a natural thing. Some of it I do work on, you know, reading a lot, you know, just developing myself from the inside.
Okay.
To be able to know these things.
Right.
To know that while you see somebody on TV making it big, what you don't see is the 10, the 15 years where they were struggling.
Yeah.
Where they were pulling up those bootstraps, while they were, you know, where it wasn't all glitz and glamour. It was dirt and dirt. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you putting that work in. Yeah.
And, you know, I'm thankful that I didn't have to sleep in cars, but I know that there's so many stories where people were homeless before they made it big.
Yeah,
Tyler
for
Perry,
sure.
all of these people. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
For sure.
And so I see that, and I'm a big believer of, you don't have to go through something to learn the lesson.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like if I can
Facts.
if I can talk to you, or I can talk to you, and you can tell me, look, man, I went through this and this and this, and this is what I learned. I don't feel like I need to also go through it.
Yeah,
Facts.
like
Facts.
learn your own mistakes, not
Facts.
somebody else's. You know, like,
Exactly.
Yeah, just, you know,
like I'm gonna make we're gonna make our own mistakes, but if I don't have to make
Yours
your
too.
mistakes and I can still get the lesson,
Uh-huh.
that's money.
Yeah, for sure.
That's money, and that's time that you don't have to waste.
For sure.
So those type of things are what really helped me to, you know, understand that it's a process. You know what I'm saying? I might only get paid a certain amount for for my photography now.
Yeah.
But if I continue, if I make a better product, I can charge a higher price.
True.
So let me focus on bettering my product,
Right.
and the price tag will come because I see it.
Yeah, because you're already here. You already see it here.
Yeah.
It's manifesting out here.
Exactly.
I have another question, because we're talking about like this is your passion and stuff. Do you because we always hear this, like, you know, follow your passion. You know, you don't never have to work a day in your life. You do your passion, but I've realized with doing my passion,
I don't think that's true.
Yeah,
I'm
we
sorry,
do-
I didn't mean to interrupt you,
No,
but
it's
that's
okay.
not true.
But doing my passion, I think there's avenues and things I don't like within my passion. So do you ever find that with your particular situation? And can you elaborate on some of that if you did? Like, things are like, I love photography, but I hate this part.
Like,
you
it's
know?
still work,
Yeah,
right?
It's still work.
It's
you know
still
what I'm saying?
work.
So, you know, it's still work. There's still time you got to put in
Yeah.
where you're not chilling, and you know, if it, like, you love it, so that doesn't feel as bad as if you're doing if I'm working for, you know, if I'm throwing boxes at FedEx or something.
Yeah.
I'm not.
There's no passion in this.
There's no passion in that, and all I can think, you know what I'm saying. But if I'm enjoying it, like when I'm on a photo shoot, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it makes it easier to deal with the work.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
But I mean, outside of that, I don't know, man. I love photography. I
Yeah.
love it. I love taking the photos. I love interacting with people. I love the editing. I really enjoy snapping the photos. I love editing.
Really?
I love editing, which
Really?
is tough because
Editing
takes a lot of time.
It
Oh my
does.
gosh.
It
You know,
does.
but I love it because I feel like that's where that's where I can really be creative. Like anybody can. I mean, as long as you understand the settings of a camera, you can point and shoot.
Yeah,
you can
for
point
sure.
and shoot. You can say stand there, smile, don't smile, look over there.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
anybody can do that. But once you get that negative or that raw file, what are you gonna do with it?
Yeah. How are you gonna make this photo?
How am I gonna make this a beautiful photo that
Right.
somebody would want to put on their wall?
Yeah.
That's where that comes in the editing, in the digital dark room, as some people say it, or whatever the case is. So I love that. If anything, it does take time, and I wish
Yeah.
it didn't take so much time.
Oh wow.
That's really the only thing.
Okay.
And dealing with people when it comes to your price, but that's in any.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. They
The
try to haggle
haggling.
you or
The hag-
negotiate.
the
It's like,
haggling.
I know what I'm worth. Like
Exactly.
haggling.
And
Like-
that's with anything. So I don't think that's really specific to photography.
Has it ever happened, like, issues where you had to deal with like people haggling you? Like, how do you deal with that when someone's trying to haggle you? Like, what is your like mental process when you're like, are they trying to get me down a lower number? Like, what do you do in that situation? People out there who want to do photography and want to start a business, like, how do you deal with negotiating your prices?
When you're starting out,
Okay.
you're looking for business.
Okay.
You need to get the experience. You're getting the work. So if somebody's haggling you on a price, or at least for me, I would say, okay, well, what about this? or what about that?
So
right?
you haggle with them.
So I'll negotiate with them.
Negotiate.
I'll negotiate,
Okay.
right? That's a better way to say it. It's the same.
Okay.
Right? But I'll negotiate.
Way.
And even now I do. Even because
yeah.
that's the beauty of owning your own business and working for yourself. I could do whatever I want to do.
Right.
That's true.
Right? If
Yeah,
I
that's
charge a certain rate to do a wedding to do a wedding, and I see that the relationship is there, but for whatever reason they really just can't afford it, I can go down. I can do whatever I want. I can say, well, this is one of my price. How close to this can you get?
Right. Okay.
And if they can at least reach my threshold,
Yeah.
we can do it. Now,
So you have a So you have a quoted price and a threshold in your mind.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. And now if they're acting real shitty, then I'm not gonna.
You get a little higher price.
Yeah, I'm not worried. This is it. And
I
especially now,
respect that.
once you get your confidence level up,
Yeah.
and once your product is recognized and respected, you don't need to bend or fold for anybody.
Yeah. True,
You don't need to bend or fold anybody once you're confident in your craft and once you're confident in yourself.
That's true.
They can take it or leave it.
That's a
very
good
true.
And
point.
that's kind of where I've gotten. I wasn't
Yeah.
always there,
Yeah.
but if you don't want to charge this price, because truth of the matter is, like, my prices are below the average.
I'm
gonna
like,
just
go
be
ahead
real.
and put it out there. Photography is high as hell.
Yeah.
It
right?
really is. Good.
And,
Yeah.
and
it
so
really
and so
is.
my rates are lower than average.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my quality is above average, way
Right.
above average, in my opinion, and in other people's opinions that
Yeah,
are
yeah.
paying me their dollars.
Right.
So when you're there, that's where that confidence comes from.
Mm-hmm.
And you can say, you know what, you have that. Being able to do that is a beautiful thing. I can say, this is my price. You can take it or leave it. But if I really like you, this is what I'll do for you.
And that's where the personality part comes in too. Because
Yeah.
if you're even a good
Right.
person giving, trying to get business, you know, that personality can make you get a better deal, or the photographer actually being enjoyed in the shoot compared to if they're just gonna be an asshole. You know what I'm saying? Like, so there's dynamics that really take a lot of priority that I didn't realize in photography.
Absolutely.
And when the photo that you saw when you came in, I had a photographer do it, and we were trying to go for this natural look, and he was like, tell your fiance just be natural, but we're both not that good on camera at times, so it was hard. But he was actually talking to us, coaching us, bringing us, saying jokes,
Yeah,
Right.
and it made us feel a lot more comfortable, and the photos came out better.
Absolutely.
So I didn't even really get that dynamic until you started talking about it. It's dang, the personality of a photographer holds a lot of weight for how the people are going to do
Right.
the photos,
Absolutely.
I mean,
you can think of it like this, right? Like, if I came in here and you were just you were not somebody that I meshed well with, this
Would have been terrible.
It would go
Yeah.
differently
Yeah.
because you either consciously or subconsciously we put up barriers.
For sure.
We put
Yeah.
up guards, and that prevents us from being our true authentic self.
Yeah, true.
And when you're not your true authentic self, the best version of yourself
Right.
isn't coming forth.
Right.
man.
And people feel that.
You can feel
You
that.
feel it.
You
That's
feel
so
that. You
true.
feel that. You feel that.
That's so true. Now you got some wisdom, though. Okay.
I do a lot of I look for it.
Yeah.
So that's
do you do a lot of self work, self
Absolutely.
reflection,
yeah,
self awareness
absolutely.
stuff?
I read a lot of books. The Alchemist. The Four Agreements. Those
Oh,
type of things,
such a
Think and
good
Grow
book.
Rich.
Such a good book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a young person that I mentor, and I just bought that book to give to them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The
they're
Four
going-
Agreements.
The Four
Yeah.
Agreements. Yes.
Yeah,
good one.
that's a very good
So
one.
I read a lot of that type of stuff. The Way of the Superior Man.
Oh, yeah, I got the book, yeah.
Um,
Good book, man. Good.
Such a good book.
Man, it really
Yeah.
it
And it's
shows
not-
manhood well.
And to be honest with
yeah.
you, it's not only for men,
Yeah.
because
So I need to read. What's the name of the book?
the way of the superior man.
The Way of the
Because
Superior Man.
when it talks about the masculine and feminine.
Yeah, it
And
does.
men have masculine and feminine, women have masculine and feminine. So it's about balancing those energies.
Right.
That's really what it's about.
Okay.
And it's a dope book. Think and Grow Rich.
Mm-hmm.
The Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale.
Yeah.
All of that type of stuff.
So would you say by default you're more of an optimistic person, or was it
Absolutely.
something you had to work on?
No, that's always been me.
Okay, same here.
I'm a
But
very
not annoyingly so.
I mean, people think so. For me, I guess I don't know.
think
feel
so.
like I don't know.
I think a little bit. You know what? It's when. Here's the thing. when
please, I'm really interested. I really want to hear this because yeah.
When you see something that works for somebody else that you either don't know how to do or you can't do well, it brings a certain level of, I don't want to say envy, but a certain level of like.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think envy. I think envy is a correct word.
Maybe like it's like.
Or like I want that.
Like,
how?
Or
what?
it's like you're deeply upset of yourself because you're not there. Maybe
Cause
that's really what you know.
How?
Because
like,
what I don't understand is why would somebody want to purposely be upset at everything?
No.
And always think of the worst. And always think of the worst.
No.
Okay. So
no, that's not the same thing, right?
Okay.
Look, because you two,
as being a pessimist.
Yes, because you two both. I know both of you. I say pretty well. I would say that. Both of you guys are usually always.
Uplift.
Right? Like, I don't have a word for it. I don't have a word for it. I have a face for it. Which is like right? Like,
happy.
I don't know if happy is an accurate description, right? But the face for it is.
I don't know. Like,
and I'm usually in the middle. I would say that's a good word because I'm usually like, people who know me, my natural state is like goofy and like I talk a lot, like, you know, that's my natural state.
Yeah.
But then coupled with my natural state is also like skepticism, right?
Okay.
Where it's like, right? Where I have to double look at everything.
I don't think skepticism is the same thing as pessimism.
Okay.
I absolutely don't. Because skepticism is when you're questioning things. Mm-hmm. And that's completely normal.
Because pessimism is like you're definitively saying this is negative compared to skeptical.
But
is like,
skepticism also leads you to saying like, but this shit for show, that's some bull. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, skepticism gives you the parameters to be like, but that actually really is negative, as opposed to like,
Well, okay. So I think this is good because like optimistic, I still am aware that people can be shitty, people can screw you over, people can trick you or lie to you. It's all there. Mm-hmm. I'm just choosing to give them the benefit of the doubt first, and then if the benefit of the doubt wears off, and I realize
y'all ain't
their
shit.
actions are showing me that X, Y, and Z, then I believe it. But I'm still hoping that they'll do better.
And your interaction with that person is still like optimistic, like.
For me, for the most part, I mean, there's times where it's not. There's time. I mean, obviously,
what do you mean by that?
Like if you're right, and optimism usually translates that onto the other relationships and conversations that they have, right? Okay. So if you notice that somebody is, or something, right, some situation is not as it should be, right? Okay. There's some bullshit going on.
Yeah.
And do you approach it with that same?
Is some bullshit going on, or
well, how do you approach it? Like, I'm asking, how do you approach it as an optimist? Do you still approach it with the same like?
I don't.
Or do you call it out?
I don't. And here, I think for me, the big part of, I guess, my optimism, if you will, is the idea of innocent until proven guilty. Now, if you prove, you know what I'm saying, I'm going to assume the best,
right,
without being naive that the worst is there.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. I'm assuming the best while still being mindful that the worst is possible. Now, if you show me the worst, I'm not going to treat you like the best. I'm not going to act like the best.
That's fair. I think
I'm going to treat you for what you are.
Okay.
But if I don't know what you are, I'm not going to assume that you're the worst.
Right.
That's my thing.
So you rather assume the best first, and then if they show you worse, then treat them where they're at, but don't assume that they're the worst first.
Yeah, because I believe whatever you're looking for in a situation is there.
Oh my gosh, man!
You're gonna find it.
You're gonna find it.
When you're looking for bullshit, you're gonna find bullshit. When you're looking for people like looking at you a certain way, they're gonna look at you a certain way because you are constantly looking for cues of that behavior.
Exactly.
Of that. So
I know that pretty well. Yeah.
So you're gonna find it. Like if you're looking for good, you'll find good a lot more if you're looking for it. But I mean, also you have to train your brain.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, for me, I just kind of was that way, but a lot of people, it's just not. It's just I didn't realize that people don't think like this.
And a lot of that comes from.
It's just really
a lot of that is a natural thing, but a lot of that also is the way your surroundings.
Yeah.
You can naturally be optimistic person, or you could be an optimist in nature, but if your environment can form you differently.
That's true.
Facts.
That's true.
And I know I'm a believer that a lot of people that are pessimistic weren't born that way.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, I don't know if anybody is, but
Right.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
you get what I'm
like
saying?
learn. It's
Yeah,
like a
yeah,
learned
yeah.
behavior.
Exactly.
It's like
Yeah.
learn. It's like a learned pattern of thinking. I think that's how I think of it. It's like a conditioned way of thinking.
Especially because everything, like pessimism is really like everything. There's nothing ever right in your world.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
I think a person can be born with a certain amount of skepticism, right? But I honestly, I think the same thing is true of optimism. Like, I don't think a person is born on either side of the scale, right?
I agree.
So the way that a person I don't think a person is born pessimistic. I also don't think that a person is born, you know what I'm saying?
Optimistic either.
Yeah,
Yeah.
optimistic
It's like a
either,
blank slate.
right? Like it's a blank slate, right?
Yeah.
You're born like, I don't know what this is. So naturally wanting to question, right? The skepticism, but not born like,
Hey,
you know what I mean? Hey, whoa, great, woo, right? You develop that or grow into that as well,
Okay.
you know, and
So I guess it will go both ways then. It can go
Now,
both
what I
ways.
will say this, and I'm a logical person. I try to be anyway. You do something, and then you get the result of it, right? You do something and you get the result of it. You do something and you get the result of it. And if you don't get the result that you're looking for, you should do something else.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Or do something different. Yeah,
Or do
for
something
sure. Yeah,
different,
do it,
right?
yeah.
Or do it a different way.
I mean,
Right.
yeah,
And me
but
living like or having an optimistic mindset works for me, and it's produced good fruit.
Gotcha.
For me.
Right.
You know what I
Gotcha.
mean?
Yeah.
Because that I'm a believer in in the energy. What you put out is going to come back. So if you put if you are expecting good things, good things will come most of the time.
And I can understand, and I've been screwed that way because there's a time where I was like super optimistic, where people are giving you the truth, and then you'd be like, "But I'll give you another chance." You know what I'm saying?
I've
like
been there too.
and over and over and over and over until like you just get bit up way too much, and then it makes you want to change to the polar opposite, which is like, don't give nobody a chance.
Right.
But after you have to realize is that this is how you look at it. You can, if someone's showing you who they are, you got to believe
them.
that.
Believe them.
You
Gotta believe
can't be delusional optimism where it's like, oh, they'll be different tomorrow, when it's like they showing you every day that they're this person.
But don't you think that at a certain point, what you give out isn't necessarily a reflection of what you're giving back, what you're giving back, but more so a reflection of what's in you to give? Like the older I get, the more that's more where I come from, right?
Okay.
Like there's a point in time where, you know what I'm saying, you give out what you give out what you get back, right?
Okay.
So if if somebody's being an asshole, right, I'm gonna be an asshole to them, right? Or I'm gonna stop being nice to them, right?
Okay.
Giving them positive energy or positive vibes or optimism, whatever it is, right? That's one way to look at it. But the older I get, the more I realize like what I give somebody has less to do with what they're giving me in return and more to do with what I have to give, period. Right?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like if it's just in you, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
To be
yeah.
optimistic and to be nice, then it almost doesn't matter what person B does because that's just in you. That's just who I am. I'm going to do it regardless of what it is that you give me back in return.
And that's actually doing it from a place of not having expectations for the other
Yeah.
party.
Yes.
Like that's
Because-
honestly the most genuine way,
Yeah.
in my opinion. If you give without ever having expectation for anything in return for it, like if I do this for you, but I don't care if you do something with it or not.
Yeah.
Like that's the best place to be
Yes,
because
absolutely.
nobody can ever trigger you in any way. No
Absolutely.
one can ever take anything away from you.
Yes, and you don't spend time thinking about it. The more like now, whenever I do something, it's for sure from the heart.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Because I make sure it is. Because if it's not, the moment it's not from the heart, the moment it's not from me, right? What I have to give. Then the minute they don't thank me the way I think they should thank me, I'm upset.
Absolutely.
The very minute that I'm like, I
Absolutely.
really don't feel like they was grateful. Like I'm not feeling.
see?
I'm
Like
not
I did
feeling
all
their-
of this for you,
Yeah, I'm
and
not-
you're not even appreciating.
Yeah.
I'm not feeling your
yeah.
level of gratitude. Not
Yeah.
knowing that maybe they express gratitude in a different way, right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
Maybe they're overwhelmed, right? It could be a
Yeah.
whole lot of reasons, right? But
Yeah.
I'm feeling some type of way because I don't like the way you thank me for what I just did for you, right?
And this all comes from your
Yes,
own
and this
mind.
is
I
all
guess
coming
you're
from
crazy.
you. This is why I
Absolutely.
make sure that it's in me because if it's in you and it's just something that I'm going to do regardless, then you don't care
Yeah.
because you know
True.
that action wasn't about you.
Gotcha.
It
True,
was for
true.
you. You benefited from it, but that action wasn't about you. That was
Yeah.
about me and what I bring to the table.
Yeah.
So I'm learning the more that I get older to be comfortable in that.
Yeah.
Because I don't do roller coasters. I don't like roller coasters. I don't like hot and cold people. I don't like. I don't like
Like
it.
You good. If you're not good,
Yeah,
you're not good.
if you're not good, don't
Yeah.
be good. If you're not good, don't be good. Just be mad. If you are good, then be good.
good.
If you crazy, be crazy. Whatever you are,
Be it.
be
Just be
that,
you.
and I can fuck with you 100%. I promise you.
That way, because then you know what to expect.
Because I know,
True.
I know.
I feel that.
I know what to expect. I can't be dealing with people who I don't know. Like who you gonna be today? Like you know.
It's like, I can't do this.
Yeah, like it's Tuesday. You gonna be pissed off on Tuesday, and then Wednesday you gonna be happy. Like I don't know, and I can't live with that kind of like.
Yeah.
That stops you up. That type of stuff. When you well, how are they gonna be today? Oh, should I be ready for arguments? Should I be ready to defend myself?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That just
eggshells, like,
exactly, and that's not comfortable, and that's not. That's one of those things that puts that barrier, put that guards up,
For
and
sure.
without and prevents you from being giving the best of you.
Yeah, man.
Boom.
That's so true.
That
So
part.
True.
That part.
And
like,
you can't give people that control. That's
You
one of the things I
can't.
learned. You cannot give people that much control over your mental state.
Yeah, because I heard a quote about that, and it says, "Whoever makes you angry makes you their master," or something like that. And
I've heard something
I don't
like
know,
that.
It was something in that realm, but I'm like, dang, like they control the way you feel.
Yeah.
essentially. So
Yeah.
if you make yourself untriggerable, if you make yourself like doesn't matter what they do, there's nothing you can do to make me emotionally provoked.
Ooh, and
Unless
there
you
are
physically touch
people
me.
who will do this shit on purpose. Ooh, I've met people who will do this on purpose. I know that if I do this, you're going to act this way.
And then you'll look crazy, and then you'll be the one that like, oh, see,
You know who
See?
does this? Kids. Like straight up. I don't know if it's because of my day job, but like legit, kids do this.
That poke, like, oh,
Yeah.
she went off.
Legit kids do this. And if you think about it in its very simplest form, babies do this.
Oh yeah.
I know that if I cry, you gonna
get
start
what I
looking
want.
around the house. You gonna start,
I'm gonna get what I want.
yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
That's
straight
true.
up.
That's
If I
annoying.
start throwing a tantrum on this floor,
You're gonna do something
I'm gonna get
You
on
gotta
your
do
one way or
something.
another.
you
Yeah.
gonna do something.
because you don't like what I'm doing.
You're
And
gonna
you gonna
do
give me the attention
something.
that I'm asking you for.
Yes.
I'm telling you, look at me. Let me throw a tantrum, and then boom, now I got the attention.
I'm a big music person, right?
Okay.
And I've always been a big hip hop type of person.
For sure.
And one of my favorite artists has always been Jay-Z. And one of the quotables from him that's always stuck with me. I can't remember what song it is, but he says, "A wise man, a wise man knows not to argue with fools,
Okay,
because from a distance people can't tell who's who." You know what I mean?
Yep,
And that's
yep,
always
yep,
stuck with me
yep.
because I could be right.
Yes.
Me and you could be outside.
Yeah.
And I could be right and you could be wrong.
Uh-huh.
Right? But if we're going back and forth and the doors closed and the windows closed and Chantel's sitting right here, it looked like
She's
two.
like, "Look at
It
these
looked
fools. Look at
two
these
niggas
fools
out.
arguing." Like-
They just out there arguing.
Yeah,
She don't know that I'm
for real,
right.
For real.
She don't know that I'm right. She don't know that you're wrong or anything. She just see two fools out there
Right.
about to fight.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
so that's
so
something
true.
that always stuck with me.
That's a
Like,
good-
like
that's-
I'm not gonna go there with you.
Yeah.
Can't.
Because it's gonna make me look bad.
Yeah, and when you argue with a fool, you become a fool. So if you over here like
Exactly.
trying to
Can't.
tell somebody stupid something and they ain't even trying to listen, like you wasting your breath.
So
you know?
low key, how wise are you? Right? Because at a certain point, you understand that no matter what I say, you're just not going to get it.
Yeah.
Right?
So at
Yep.
that point,
So how
conversation-
wise can you be if you can't even figure that part out?
That's
Right?
true.
Like
That's a
you're
good point.
just not going to get it. So I'm going to end this conversation here, right? And we're going to have
Yeah.
to leave
I
it alone.
had a situation with that over the weekend.
Oh, yeah?
And I'm not gonna necessarily say no names, but
Yeah,
I'm
good
doing. I
job.
was,
We're not saying names on the podcast.
yeah, you know, but
He's
I'm
already better than
Disclaimer.
me on my first week.
She was like, "Yes, I was on." I'm like, we just said no name. We just literally. 2
I
minutes
was
ago.
giving them all the tea.
and some. I was like, "Yo."
But I
You
was
can't
doing.
say
I've been doing
this.
some work in my backyard, rebuilding the fence between me and my neighbor's yard, and I had somebody over helping me,
Okay.
and I had my father and then somebody else, right?
Okay.
And so this somebody else was doing some work,
Okay.
and my father was trying to tell him something.
Okay.
And what my father was trying to tell him, he was receiving differently. Like he was receiving it as an attack, right?
Oh, okay,
Like he felt that my dad was criticizing how he was doing his work.
Okay. Gotcha.
But what he was really doing was there's a machine that he was using that my father borrowed so that we can use.
Okay.
And he didn't want to ruin it.
Okay.
And what this person was doing could potentially ruin it. And so
Got you,
my dad
okay.
was like, "Man, why don't you turn that off for a few minutes and let it cool down?"
Okay.
But he wasn't taking it like that. And
Gotcha.
and then voices got elevated. And we're outside in my backyard on a Sunday. afternoon.
Yeah.
I got neighbors in their backyard on both sides.
Okay.
And that's not me.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
that's not what I represent, and that's not what my neighbors. Not that I care, but
you
that's,
still, you just
know
for
what
you,
I'm
like, you know,
for
yeah,
me,
yeah.
like I don't want to be that black man that's got,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Issues are
That got niggas
Yeah,
yelling
yeah,
in
yeah.
my backyard.
So
Exactly.
I tried to diffuse the situation,
Right.
but he wasn't listening to me either.
Okay.
And it got to a point where I was like, you know what? This isn't going to get resolved by me talking.
Mm-hmm.
So I appreciate you for what you came over to help me do, and you can leave. He was leaving anyway, and I was trying to stop it because there was no. It was.
You didn't want to be like bad people. Yeah, but you know.
But I got to the point to where like look, he's not listening to me. If you don't hear nothing else, know that I appreciate you for what you did, and then you can leave, because I'm not gonna let y'all, and I'm not gonna be out here arguing like a couple of angry black men. That's
for
not,
sure,
because I got a job still I need to do.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
for sure.
So that was an example of that, man. Like I just had to let him go, because if not, I was gonna keep beating my head up against the brick wall, trying to walk through the brick wall.
Yeah, and it's interesting because like I wonder because you said like there was a barrier of communication where, you know, something was said and then it was taken a certain way, and I think that's why it's so important to like really know what you're trying to say, but also and a lot of times when stuff like that happens, I've noticed that if you don't clarify your intention before you say something, people will take it however they think they take it. So I've noticed for me, like if I clarify like, hey, I'm coming from, I'm telling you from a place of X, Y, and Z. Like I'm telling you because I feel this way, so. Then when you tell them the issue, they already know. Like you already primed them to be like, well, it's not them. You're not attacking me because you're coming from
because I know
here.
why you're saying it.
Yeah. So but a lot of times people just take what they hear and then they feel a certain way, and then they believe what they heard.
They
how
filter it through their own problems.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so I think a big thing is like a big thing is like if you prime the conversation, and I'm sure that situation was nothing that big of a deal, but it was just really quick, like hey, turn it off kind of thing, whatever, and it just got escalated. But a lot of times, you know, you get, you know, miscommunication happens when you're direct.
Exactly.
You know,
especially when you're direct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because people take being direct as being rude.
Yes.
And it's not.
The fact that you have to like front load everyday conversations with friends or, you know, like people, to me is like, it's a ridiculous concept that I resent.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous to some
but
degree.
it's ridiculous. But that doesn't make it any less true though.
You have to, you literally have to be like, so I'm saying this not because of this, but because this. And my intention really is like, if my intention is really for you not to break this machine because it's not mine and I have to give it back. So everything I'm about to say to you, I want you to filter through this lens.
Yeah.
I ain't got time to say all of that when I'm trying to fix my fence, bro.
I hear you.
You could just turn off the machine.
I understand, but what I'm saying is like I agree with that because there's not always gonna be the time where you can explain everything. Yeah. But that would have maybe not led to that situation. Agreed.
So
is it like, do you when you think about it? Yeah, I don't have time for it, but is it really worth it?
Yeah.
That's where like that
balance comes
crazy.
in, you know?
One of the things that I've learned to do is exactly what you're saying. I got to think about what I'm saying and how I'm saying it. But I also have to at least be mindful with how this person is going to receive it. Because my perception of what I say can be different than the way you perceive it.
True.
And I have to be mindful of, not necessarily saying that I have to cater to you all the time, but I have to be mindful that if you get upset, this is why, because you think of it this way.
Right.
Yeah.
But if I have to say what I need to say, then I'm gonna say it.
Yeah.
And then you gotta let the chips fall where they may. And you gotta expect that you might get upset when I talk to you like this. If I still gotta talk to you like this, then I'm going to. But I'm with that understanding that you probably may feel like this, and that I have to be okay with that.
Yeah, and that's okay. And I think as long as you can clarify, because you can tell somebody something direct, like I don't like this or so and so, they may feel a certain way, and then if they get mad and they don't understand it, they think you can always clarify afterwards, like, well, this is what I'm saying is X, Y, and Z. It's nothing against you, you know, but a lot of times in situations, it's like, is the person really ready to listen?
Yeah.
So like that, and that time, it's like,
if they're not,
it don't even matter then.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, but like that's often viewed through the lens of like what I said, like depending on the content of the conversation, you know what I mean? Or even the environment. Like if you're at work, then you already know you got to put on the whole face, do the whole thing, go the whole background, lay out your objectives. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? CC everybody on the email, right? You gotta, you have to put like that facade. I don't want to say a facade, but it's interesting that
the code switch. It's called code switch.
Not even a code switch though, because it's literally the way that I have to be perceived. Do you understand what I'm saying?
You mean the politics? Like
yes, okay, it's more like politics and code switch, right? But you're saying like this literally this has to be translated into every area.
I'm not saying every area. Well, I'm not saying every area, but
we really gotta but it's true though. Like we really have to discern the way that we talk to people and then discern how somebody can potentially take what it is that you're saying.
And that's okay, but I think as long as you are clear with what you mean from the jump, like I mean, how they take it is really, it's kind of irrelevant, because at the end of the day, as long as I know what I'm trying to say, I'm clear on what I'm saying, and I communicate that as clear as possible, if they can take it however, they can be happy and take the information good, they can be mad and take it horrible. I can't determine what their feeling is going to be. But what I can determine is I'm going to say it as clear as possible. And if you have an issue, I can clarify afterwards.
And if you don't like it, you.
Well,
at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? I can, if I'm cooking a meal for you and I know you don't like onions, then I can not use onions. Right. Okay? If I know you not a carb type of person, then I can do something different than having a part of the meal with carbs in it. I can do a no carb meal, right? I can do all of these allocations or all of these, whatever you call them. But at the end of the day, if I cook this meal and I've done the best that I can to cater to you and you still don't like the meal,
all right,
then what else can I do? What else can I do? Because you chase around people's emotions and you chase around people's you cater to people's feelings, because nobody really is in control of their emotions anyway. So me trying to control your emotions and you can't, why would I do that?
Nobody's in control. Hold on, pause. Nobody's in control of their emotions. Like I'm not in control of Anthony's emotions, or like Anthony is not in control of Anthony's emotions.
And why am I the one? Hold on.
Sorry. Well, it couldn't be. It couldn't be me, and he was telling the story. So
no, I get you. Okay.
To a certain extent. I mean, obviously, you're not in control of my emotions.
Right. 100%. I'm not. 100%.
Now, are you always in control of yourself?
You see, I was like,
but who?
I would say like a good like 60-40, 70-30.
60-40. 60-40 is almost 50-50.
Yeah,
and I wouldn't say that if I'm
like 70-30. Like I would say 70-30.
I was like mixed too. 70-30.
I would like low key say 70-30.
Okay, and that's but that 30% you're not in control of. That's what I mean. I'm in control of it, but like y'all not gonna like what that look like.
Okay.
Like I'm gonna have an emotional reaction. Okay. That 30% of the time, 30% of the stimuli, I'm gonna be like,
okay.
You know what I'm saying? So like emotional reaction.
Like, your emotions will be in there. Okay,
yes, I'll react emotionally with like a cuss or a this or like a what the
okay.
Right? Like be upset, a cry or whatever that looks like. You know what I'm saying? 30% of the time.
Everyone's a little bipolar. We're all a little bipolar because we think about. We're not always in control of our emotions 24/7.
Absolutely.
I mean, think about it. We can be this way when we go home to our families. They really know what we're dealing with, the stress, what we have going on, and how we really feel about stuff. So at the end of the day, it's like, are you really in control of your emotions all the time? Never. It's impossible. No. I think it's impossible to be like 100% in control.
I don't like this. I don't like this.
Why?
I don't like this.
Because
I feel like, isn't that what we're supposed to be? Like, I feel like me being 70-30 means that there's something wrong with me, right? And like,
no,
clearly you need to work harder, right? Like this conversation makes me think like, if you're 70-30, then you tripping and you need to.
No. It's not that you tripping. It's that like, if we were fully in control, why would we need any help from anybody?
Yeah.
Emotionally
or anything. Maybe I shouldn't.
You would never get mad. You wouldn't even get mad if you're fully in control of your emotions. If you think about that, you would never get mad.
There's no swing.
Think about it. If you were in control, you would never get mad because it's like,
because why would you want to be mad?
Yeah,
you would get mad.
Well, why would you want to be mad?
I mean,
is there
because sometimes that's an appropriate reaction.
Does it feel good to be mad?
I mean, to say that you're not in control of your emotions to me sounds like to say like, you could just like shit on yourself. You know what I mean? Without your consent. You know what I'm saying? So
Well,
I think
that's
when
not
you
that's
get
not being
mad,
that's not being in control with your bowels. Then if you talk
Yeah,
about
that's
hold
what
on,
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So like emotionally, so then let's flip the analogy. 'Cause y'all didn't
hold
get
on.
it. So okay, so
We
let's
gotta
flip
go.
the analogy because y'all didn't get it. To not be in control of your emotions says to me like you can get angry without your consent. Are people out here just getting angry without, you know what I mean, like without acknowledging
I think a lot
their
of people
anger?
are getting angry without their consent.
But
They
that's
don't even
not
know why
okay.
they don't even know why they're angry.
But that's not okay
okay.
though. So that can't be the norm, or is it? That's what I'm asking.
Just because it's normal doesn't mean it's okay.
It's okay. It's okay to not be in control at every given moment.
Agreed. That's
Yeah.
true. That's
Yeah,
true.
I think that's
You
true.
know, because we're not, and so
But
you
you're
can be
giving.
you can be really good at something, right? And there can still be room for improvement.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Sure.
Facts.
Yeah.
So you can be really good at controlling your emotions, and there can still be room for improvement.
But are people
Right.
just out here having mood swings
Yeah,
Yeah, a lot of
without
people
their
are.
consent, like without your own personal consent to be
Yeah.
happy, to
Yeah.
be sad, to be angry?
That's what happens. People like sometimes even like when you get triggered, like you react in an emotional response without necessarily thinking about what everything I'm gonna say right now. How is it gonna come across? How is it gonna act? Who am I gonna?
But you
offend?
still give
You know.
yourself to consent to the consent to go through those.
You might not be like rationally there. Think about
triggers
it.
a lot of triggers a lot of time are unconscious. So you react a certain way without thinking. I want to react. I want to react this way. You
Right.
just react. That's what reactions
Yeah,
are.
yeah. It's like it's not like a thought out process. Like I'm gonna do this for X, Y, and Z reasons. It's like I'm just hurt. Boom. Like you don't even give the chance to think to even like.
But
fully.
77. If you're in control of your emotions 70%, I think that's good. To
Yeah,
be
me too.
honest, 70%
Maybe
is
65.
look 70
Sometimes it's 60. So
70% is a C, right?
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
pass classes with C's.
yeah,
It's
Right.
true. You
That's
get
very
degrees
true.
with
You get
Cs.
degrees with C's, and you can, a lot of business people are C level people.
That's
a lot
very
of
true.
a lot of business owners are C level people. They're not the A's and the B's
Yeah, that's
Right.
true.
because they're not. I don't know why.
Well, I mean, it makes sense because you want to do things your way, and if you want to do things your way, that's like, in school that doesn't work.
It doesn't.
Right,
You gotta follow the program or not.
Yeah, you either follow the program and get an A, or you kind of not follow the program, but you still do the program and you get a C, which was kind of
That was me.
like
That was
I'm
me.
doing it, but like
That
I'm
was
gonna do
me.
it my way.
I was
right?
me, but I got S in high school. I didn't do
Wow.
my work, so
Wow.
unfortunately. But I ended up being a good student later on. So
Wow.
It's not about how you start; it's about how you finish.
exactly. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Exactly. Don't tell nobody. But no, this honestly like went way off topic. We were talking about photography and stuff, but we got to wrap it up in a minute. But I do want to ask. Number one, where can anybody reach you if they want to do photography? And two, what is a big proverb or wisdom that you have incorporated into your life? I know we talked about some already that you want to leave with the audience that you think will be beneficial for anybody who will take it on.
Absolutely. So you talking about do photography, like be one of my photographers, or me do photography for them?
Oh, you for them.
So you can go to my you can go so you can go to my website www.jfphotography.com JAYEFF photography.com on Instagram at photography by JF, same thing on Facebook at photography by JF, let's connect and let me capture some memories for you.
Are you looking for photographers too?
Possibly.
Okay.
Possibly.
Hiring people.
Send a resume.
Possibly.
Send a
Send a
resume.
resume.
You never know.
And which is a beautiful thing. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And let me say this.
Yeah.
Which somebody actually presented this to me or brought it out to me.
Okay.
So I started in 2015. I had a really good year in 2016,
Okay.
and it was like pretty good.
Okay.
Last year was my busiest year
Oh,
today.
okay.
In the COVID.
In the COVID.
Really?
In the COVID.
It was my
Really?
yes.
Really?
In the COVID.
Which was
we gotta go longer. Explain
which was
this.
unbelievable.
Hold on. We gotta go longer. Forget it.
I don't know how it happened, but it was like, I guess, the right mix of things. And going back to what you said earlier, like for me, the biggest thing, because I've yet to do a lot of hardcore marketing,
Okay.
but word of mouth referral is the best thing because you may not know me, right? But Chantal does.
Yeah.
And if Chantal tells you that I'm a good photographer, you're gonna believe her.
Yeah,
more so than me telling you that.
100%.
You know what I'm saying?
I'll be
So
like, she's told me, cool.
Yeah.
No
So that's golden to me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
I don't have to pay any money for that.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's also so much more effective.
Yeah, I agree.
And like I said, I don't know exactly how it happened, but it was like a good mix of things.
Look at God, though, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Come
So-
on.
That's crazy.
Come on.
That's
and
crazy.
it's carrying into this year, and I'm just looking to build and keep going forward
And be
Wow,
booked.
man.
and be booked.
And be
Yeah,
booked.
yeah.
To where I don't have a choice to,
Yeah.
because that's where it comes into it. Like,
Right.
because when I don't have a choice, like I have to stop doing the 9-to-5 thing
Uh-huh.
in order for my passion to keep growing.
Yeah,
Right.
'cause
You know what I'm saying?
Something's gotta
It's
give.
gonna cap. It will cap at some
And,
point. Yeah,
because there's only so much you can do in a certain amount of time.
for sure.
So that's and that's what I'm believing for.
Wow. Very
That's dope.
intentional, man.
Yeah, that's
But,
dope.
Intentional.
As far as any words of wisdom,
For any young photographers out there, or
any young
anything in
photographers?
or anything in general,
Young business owner.
Yeah.
Young
Just-
anybody.
just focus on your product
Okay.
and focus on yourself, because like we said before, if you're a good person, people going to fuck with you.
This
Yeah.
is true.
That's true.
If
This is
I
true.
take, because where I'm at now is not where I was in 2016 as far as my photography and my editing skills.
Okay.
I'm a lot more advanced,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But people that I've taken photos with then, or even that have supported my business then, they still support me now because
Okay,
I'm a
yeah,
good
yeah,
person.
yeah.
Or at least
Yeah,
I
yeah.
strive to be a good person.
Right.
And so going back to that thing, like if you're a good person, you can get better at your craft. You can get a better
Yeah.
That's
product.
good. That's
Yeah,
good.
for sure.
But developing relationships, treating people good,
Yeah.
and just focusing on giving the best version of your product,
Man.
will be golden for you. Because people are going to see your authenticity, they're going to feel it, and they're going to want to mess with you. And then when you continue to improve your product on top of that, or your service, or whatever your business venture
Right.
is, when you continue to improve that, you already have that relationship,
Right.
Right.
because you're a good
right.
person.
Yeah.
So people are going to be more likely to want to buy your product or service
Yeah.
and tell people, because
Like that trust factor.
Yeah.
the trust
You know?
factor, because they
Yeah.
know if I tell my friend about you, I know that I know that you're going to treat them good.
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
treat
Because
me
I
this way,
trust
yeah.
you enough, right?
Yeah.
So that whatever you say
Yeah.
it's just Bible. But one thing you said that was super dope is like people patronize you and your product wasn't even as good as it could have been. Like think about that for a second. Like people are patronizing you and coming back to you and supporting you, and you
Right.
know that from the time that they started supporting me to where I am now, the product has been better. So people are really supporting your growth.
You.
Absolutely.
You.
Absolutely.
Like they're supporting your growth, right? Because I went from it was cool,
It
right?
was
I
all- it
liked
was
it.
all- it was all right,
It's cool.
you know,
I'm
it's
learning
alright.
to like now like this A1 product, and they're supporting you the whole time along the way.
Yeah,
That's
man.
dope.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Never think that you made it.
For sure.
'Cause you're gonna
Always
stop
stay
growing.
hungry. Yeah, stay hungry.
That's
Yeah.
dope. That's
That's
dope.
good.
That's
Man.
dope.
I'm so glad you came on, man.
I appreciate
so
you guys
That's
for
glad,
dope.
man. This has
That's
been.
For
dope.
sharing I appreciate you guys for sharing this space with me.
Oh man, yeah. You're
and,
always welcome.
I had a good time.
Yeah, you did good. Good, man. Good. I'm really glad. Let's wrap this up, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in for another episode of Unpack Your Bag Podcast. Go and look at the link below in the description. I get all this information in there for you guys. But we're going to wrap it up. So thank you guys so much. Until another episode of Unpack Your Bag Podcast. Peace, love, and hair grease. Don't do it, Chantal. Don't do the last word.
Them lonely boy blues, lonely boy blues. Them lonely boy blues, lonely boy blues. You don't hear about it every day in the news. They walk around with a frown, ain't got nothing to lose. Them lonely boy blues, lonely boy blues. Them lonely boy blues, lonely boy blues. You don't hear about it every day in the news. They walk around with a frown, ain't got nothing to lose. He was